We're failing in the school districts in the state of Utah. This is not acceptable, and it cannot be acceptable if you want your kids to have a future. So ask yourself this: how do we empower teachers and superintendents? You become friends with them. You become allies with them. You become comrades with them. Because if you do that, people work together when they start to talk to each other. I would hope at noon that I would see just some of you take the risk and sit down with somebody that you don't know and have a conversation with them. You will be amazed what you might learn and what you might gain from that conversation. Because superintendents that don't know how to deal with Indian parents, teachers that don't know how to teach Indian students, they need to know how. And you are the only ones sometimes that are the source of information, accurate information for them to know. So I make it a challenge for you this year. Can we cut down that 40%? Yes, we can. Because Eileen Quintana, who's going to present, can show you how to do it. She took a dropout rate down there in Nebo School District from a miserable to almost 92% graduation rate. Give her a hand. That's empowerment. Now I hear when I go to a school, not only in Utah but other places, I hear the same thing. I'm a non-native person. Indian people won't accept me or won't listen to me. How can you still say that? This is the 21st century, ladies and gentlemen. I look at Joyce Gunnan, who is a non-native, but really she is an Indian in disguise. She should have come down. She has empowered families, young people, students. They don't look at her as white or Indian, or they look at her as a friend. They look at her as a mentor. They look at her as somebody that cares about what happens to their children. So if you want to empower young people in the state of Utah in your school districts, she's a fine example, and she could teach her teachers how to do it. Now I want to thank the governor. You know, we play politics once in a while, but here's my little peeve. If you want the governor to be on the side of Native Americans, you better thank him what he's got in mind coming up. It's going to be a pleasant surprise to you. That's all I'm going to say. You ought to owe him, and you can report back to him that I said this, that I applaud him for his concern and his time for Indian education. So since he's not here, he'll be here tomorrow. He's going to be the messenger, the lieutenant governor. We need to tell people thank you when they do something good for Indian people or Indian education. Don't just sit there and say, well, that's their job. Tell them thank you, and we will work with you, for heaven's sakes. Every tribe in this state should have allies and comrades in the school district. They should. If you're not, that's why your kids are dropping out and losing out. Your young people want to do something with their lives, believe me. If they were all here today, I would just do a simple program for them. You need to bring your kids to this summit. Let them see these people and let them mingle. Let them learn how to interact with people beyond their community. Would you agree with me? Yes. Now, because of time, I want to tell you something. I've been doing this a long time. I just came back from Pueblo in New Mexico. And they're having tremendous challenges down there, just like your communities. And they wanted to know how to work with their young people more effectively. Do you have the answer? Do I have the answer? Yes, we have the answer. So they brought their young people, and they brought their parents. There were no teachers there, but I'll tell you what, it was powerful. Because I told them 4 simple things. Number 1, young people do not listen to those they don't trust or they don't like. True or false? True. True. Number 2, young people respond to people that are loved. and appreciated. And number three, they want direction. Believe me, they want direction. Many of them are lost. How many are lost in your tribes? How many are looking for an answer? You're the answer. Somebody's got to have the answer for the future of their lives. And the last thing I said was very simple. I'm going to ask you the same questions that my grandfather asked me. He didn't have a PhD, but I'll tell you what, he had a PhD in life. This man was powerful. I watched him when he was young. And when he walked into a room, people looked up and he said, "What are you looking at? You like what you see?" That's what he would tell them in our language. And I thought, wow, this man is powerful. So one day after college, he sat me down. And he gave me an ACT, SAT exam. And I failed. These are the questions that he asked. Question number one. Uwa, which means who the heck are you? Grandson, who are you? So I ask you, who are you? Who do you represent? Who came before you? Who taught you things that brought you to this table today? Who are you? Who's your family tree? Who are your aunties and your uncles and your relatives? Who are they? Can you name them? Oh, and I was so shook up by that. He said, you better have the answer for that. You're sitting by one person looking at you. Oh, wow. Second question he asked me. What is in your heart, Howard? You've gone to college. What's your passion? Do you people have passion? Do you people out there have something to offer? Do you have something to give? He wanted to know what was in my heart, because many of you out here, I know, your passion is to help others and to serve others. Others I do not know. Are you in the business for a profit? If you are, fine and dandy. But beyond that, what burns in you? What makes you tick? And it comes down when you serve others and you help others. There's power in that. And he wanted to know what I was going to do with that college degree and what passion I would have to go do it. And the third question he asked, which means, where are you headed, grandson, after this? What do you plan to do? And he looked me in the eye, and I didn't have an answer yet. But thanks to Dale, Dale was the answer. You must have heard my grandfather's prayers for me, because Dale hired me while I was in college. He took a gamble on me. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we have to take a gamble on people and see what they can do. But the most haunting question of all is this. Which means grandson. What do you believe in? What strongly do you believe in? What are you willing to stand with and for? I didn't have an answer. I didn't know. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll ask you this haunting question. Is the Creator in your life? If He isn't, your sons and daughters will not know Him. Your grandchildren will not know Him. And guess what's going to happen? Like the rest of this country, they won't know who He is and what He can do. And I cite you because I learned from that interview to get with it. I began to realize that what my grandmother was trying to teach me, the power of personal prayer every day in your life makes a difference. And here's how it pays off. I was in the Seattle airport several years ago. And I had an inspiration, I guess, to call home. So I called my wife and says, oh my gosh, Howard, your dad has been trying to get a hold of you. Your sister died today. And I just slumped in that little chair. And I said, can you call him right now? So I called my dad. And I said, Dad, I'm in Seattle and I'm heading to Alaska. What do you want me to do? Now, check this out, people. When you pray, when the time is right, something's going to happen. I sat in that little phone booth, and an impression came to me, let the dead bury the dead. What an impression. And I thought, that's not comforting. Let the dead bury the dead. So I talked to my dad and said, what do you want me to do? I do not want to be too disrespectful to my sister and to the family. What do you want me to do? Check this out. Howard, my son, help the living. We'll take care of the dead. I went to Alaska. Here's how prayer pays off, ladies and gentlemen. I cannot contribute more to the Creator than this. I went to a high school where it was racially charged. It was so bad that the non-Indian students were on one side with the non-Indian counselors and the principal, and the Indian people were on this side in the gymnasium. And the principal said, okay, hotshot, we heard some things about you. Let's see what you do about this. As I was walking down the hallway, a teacher stopped me and said, Mr. Rayner, I said, I need it. Please, would you do that for me? So he said it. And I went in, and everything changed in a half a day. It was a miracle. And so this native lady was taking me to the airport, and she started to cry, and she gave me a beaded belt, and she said, Mr. Rayner, what if you hadn't come? I said, I came because I was on the Creator's errand. The Creator God. He sent me here. Ladies and gentlemen, connect with the Creator because you don't know what lies ahead in your state, in your community, in this nation. You don't know. All of us used to be secure. Look at all the fires that we have had that could wipe out your community just like that. You need to be praying for rain. We need to have so much faith and confidence in the Creator that He can deliver. That's what I have learned in 35 years. Now I can answer my grandfather. Who are you? My father was Chuntbat. My grandfather was Bakwana. My grandmother was Yassi. My sister was Bapuli. My uncle, who loved me to death, was Chutpai. And on and on and on. Where are you? What is in your heart? I love working with young people. I still do. I want to see them succeed so bad. I want to just turn them around. I want to give them hope. So as long as I can stand, as long as I can speak, and as long as there's a young person, that's what I still want to do with passion in my heart. Then, where am I headed?